I think you would really appreciate this story. I work remotely for an organization in Florida, and twice a year I fly down for several days to Orlando to work on site. And last week was one of those weeks. I usually fly Southwest because I like it. The flights are inexpensive, I like the snacks. Southwest does not assign seats. And when you get on, you can sit, they've got like 3 seats. You can sit in the window, you can sit in the middle, or you can sit on the aisle. And my preference is a window seat. And when a flight is not crowded, I am very happy. I get lucky, I sit in the window. Now other times though, I end up on a crowded flight, smashed between a husband and wife. Now she wants the aisle, he wants the window seat, and they leave a space between them so they get comfortable and not anticipating little old me, fresh from a team building exercise that was outside in the Florida sun, or a volunteer activity in a food kitchen. So I'm not at my best, smudged between them. Now as a couple will talk, and the thing that makes me angry is that the couples will talk over me. Like they'll say things like, "Did you call Andrea? She'll want to know that when we reach the airport." Or things like, "Are you hungry? I was thinking Chipotle." Now this past Friday, it was a crowded flight, and I was the last person on the plane. But I was able to pick carefully. I grabbed a seat in the second row, right when you got in, between a young woman in her 20s in a business suit and a man in his 70s wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And I'm like, clearly these people are not together, so it's gonna be good. So I didn't have to, and I smelled pretty good also that day because we didn't do a team building thing, so it's good. I had earbuds in my ears, and they were playing a light music in the airplane, and there's like this ambient talking going on around me. But I could hear the woman in front of me talking clearly. And she was around my age and just loud. She was with an older woman who was sitting on the window seat playing Sudoku. The older woman was in her 80s, and they had a seat between them, and this woman was sitting on the edge and on the aisle. And it's clear that they had been talking for a while. And so the middle-aged woman said, "Yogurt?" And the older woman said, "Nah." And the woman, I could tell like it was a daughter and a mother. And already the daughter was irritated by the way she's enunciating each word. Clearly she had been listing off like food for a while. Whole grain bread? Nah. Baby carrots? No. And finally the woman snapped and she's like, "Ma, there are no groceries in your house. You have to eat something. This is how we got into the problem where you snack on candy, and now you have diabetes, which is going to lead to Alzheimer's." "I'll order a wrap from Jimmy John's." "No, you can't eat like that." I have a front row seat on this conversation, and I kind of forgot myself. And I was hungry, so I said, "Actually, Jimmy John's sounds good." And both women looked very sharply at me, and I had to pretend like I was looking at my phone. Now for a moment, I felt sorry for the older woman. It's not easy getting older. And there's a point when people, they just start bossing you around when you're older. There's probably going to be a day where my son is flying me from Chicago to Detroit because he needs to take care of me. And he'll be frustrated saying to me, "No, you can't subsist on 7-Eleven taquitos and rosé wine." Now the conversation between the women died down, and it was quiet for a while. The flight attendant did the thing with the seat belts and the flotation device, and after a while we were in the air. And I was settled in, listening to music, reading my book on Winston Churchill, when I registered that there was some furious whispering by the middle-aged woman in front of me to her mother. And so it was inevitable that when emotions overflowed, the middle-aged woman burst out, "You can't get buried with Daddy. He's buried in the same plot as Grandma and Grampy, and there's no room. If Carrie has her way, you will be cremated and your body will be thrown everywhere." Now the woman in the business suit jolted awake at this. I looked at the man beside me in the Hawaiian shirt, and he gave me a look like, "Oh boy." I tapped my earbuds to turn off the music, so I'm like, this is gonna get good. But this time, the flight attendant drifted over. Now apparently, Southwest Airlines does not like it when people are on a plane and somebody starts talking about your body being everywhere. And the flight attendant, she had a nice southern drawl. She said, "Is everything okay over here?" And the middle-aged woman says, "Yes, I am just taking home little Miss Bossy. She's a snowbird in Winter Park and she broke her ankle, so we're heading back to Napierville." "Oh dear," the flight attendant says, "that's not a fun homecoming. Especially when the weather will be so nice next week." Middle-aged woman says, "We'll be in doctor's appointments all week long, so we won't know." Flight attendant still trying to bring things up. She says, "That's so kind of you taking care of your mom. Are you from Napierville too?" And this softens the middle-aged woman. She starts talking about other things. And as she does, her voice goes down to the point where I can't hear what she's saying. Now, all I hear is a stewardess eventually saying, "Well, we'll be landing in another 90 minutes. You can relax and not worry about a thing." I'm a corporate trainer, and these days, like, corporations have a lot of these behavioral trainings, and all I can think is, wow, Southwest must have an amazing de-escalation program. But there's more going on here with this woman. About 45 minutes later, the conversation boils up again. She's not as loud as before, but I can hear her say, "Look, I get it. Anthony got daddy's business. Carrie gets the house when you pass. I know I'm the youngest and where I stand in the pecking order, but you have to understand." And at that point, her voice breaks. And she says something so low, I can't hear what she's saying. Now, it's one thing to be in a tight space with someone being loud and oversharing, but this conversation hits home. I suddenly have both empathy and sympathy for this woman. My parents are both the youngest children, and at the death of their parents, they were left out of inheritances. And I heard their hurt and anger in conversations for years. You want to believe that you are loved unconditionally by your family, but yeah, it hurts when you see exactly where you are in the pecking order. And I can't do what this woman is doing with her mother, with my parents. They're both still alive, they're in okay health, but I'm what's called low contact with them because I too have seen the pecking order. And that's where my empathy is with this woman. My sympathy is that she's still trying to change it. She's frustrated and loud, but scared. It's not just the Alzheimer's and death, but ending one of the most important relationships in your life and wondering, was I loved? We land smoothly in Chicago. The mother and daughter were waiting for the wheelchair, so the flight attendant let some of us up, and because I was first, I got up, I walked past them, and the mother was looking out the window, and the daughter was looking at the other side of the aisle, and the empty seat between them was so small in length, but I realized it represented such an incredible distance. Thank you.
Let's give it down to Kate.